Oh, welcome to the Sharpe Show. So happy to have you with me this evening, a little bit past 8 p.m. on the East Coast. I know I'm a little bit late today, but I was very busy. How about that? I don't know. Was that a good enough excuse? I don't want to give you some BS. I was just insanely busy trying to get something done because tomorrow I will be at an event. So I will not be able to do a show tomorrow night. So I said, I got to do a show tonight because I can't do one tomorrow, but I will absolutely do one on Thursday. So I'll have one tonight and Thursday. But today's show, usually I save the New York centric stuff for my Tuesday radio show. For those of you who know, I do a live Tuesday radio show every Tuesday at 1 p.m. out of Rochester, a simulcast out of Rochester, remote cast, I should say, out of Rochester, WYSL, 1 p.m. on Tuesdays. And usually I spend more time on New York centric issues. But today I got one, New York State. And I'm doing my regular evening show, which usually is much more national, international, more generic in that regard. But man, oh man, is my state in some sort of trouble. This thing is, all right, we got lawsuits from the federal government coming at us. We got New York City mayor who might get removed either from the governor or from a local commission. There's actually a commission in New York City that could remove him. He could be removed. First time removed ever. Now, we've lost mayors before. They've literally packed up and ran away. That's happened. We have done that before back in like the 30s and the 50s. We had some mayors who were like, I'm out, and they ran away. So that does happen sometimes when they're in trouble, but never removed. And Eric Adams like, nope, I'm staying. I don't care what. Eric Adams is so defiant. He's like, not only am I not leaving, not only am I not being removed, I'm running for office and I'm winning. I'm not joking. He literally saying that. With that happening, we also have corrections officers across our state now, people who run our prisons and, guard our prisoners, just going on strike, going, nope, I'm not, I'm done. I'm out, leaving. To the point where it's so bad, where Kathy Hochul, our governor, Her Majesty Queen Kathy, first of her name, she is considering bringing in the National Guard. They are literally training right now. I'm not joking. New York National Guard, military police, MPs are literally training so they can go in and somehow become prison guards. That's a thing. That's happening now. New York, all the things you could imagine happening now. Sometimes New York is so embarrassing. Wow. This one, really, boy, is it going. It is all over the place. New York State doing its best. I got to grab a couple. The first one I'm going to bring up, and the sad part is some of them are related. You might think they're all three different, but they're not. They're kind of related. They kind of are for different reasons. So I guess let me do the first one if I could. And this is Mayor Adams, right? Mayor Adams is actually, okay, so allegedly, I'll say allegedly, he took bribes in the form of travel from the Turkish government to move ahead some buildings in New York City. That's what they say. Just saying that. That's alleged. All right. I told you months ago when this first came up that this doesn't have legs. It doesn't. People said, why? And I said, because this kind of stuff is the norm in New York City. They don't want this to go any deeper. Why? Because almost everybody does it. I explained the whole idea, the concept of expediters, how this is legal in New York City, how he did it when he was a borough president and it was legal. And I showed you, remember I showed the receipts? Literally, you can go to New York City's website. It tells you how you can legally be a consultant and accept money while being a public servant. That is legal in New York City. This is why, for Eric Adams, there's no city or state charges. Because what he did in New York City and New York State is legal. Larry, he took money to do this, and that's legal? Yes. And I've expressed it. I've shown you receipts. It's true. That's why they associate charges. Now, that is illegal federally. Federally, you cannot do it. So they just decided to charge him federally because I guess Turkey, I don't know, whatever they decided. They decided federally. Well, that's not a strong case. That's why he was like, I don't care. I'm gonna let everyone know what's happening in New York City and New York State. And that happens, and they go, oh, you know what? Maybe I don't want to deal with this issue right now. And that's one of the reasons that they're actually trying to back out on this thing. I'm not joking. I told you this months ago. That's why people are like, oh, he's cooked. I'm like, no, he's not. I told you he wasn't cooked because he's not. That's not how New York City works. If you don't live in New York City, you don't know how corrupt we are. So you can't imagine that being true. It's true. So in any case, so now you might go, well, it doesn't matter, Larry, because this is wrong, because the Trump administration is letting him slide because they want him to follow Trump. If he doesn't follow Trump, it's tit for tat, blah, 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 right? That's the argument on that side. But there's a counter argument. And the counter argument is, the counter argument is, no. The Trump administration wants him to do his job. And the migrant crisis is a crisis. And if he's being charged, he can't do his job. Therefore, he can't help with the migrant crisis, which is a national emergency. That's the Trump argument. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm telling you it's not black and white. There is an argument on both sides. Their argument then becomes, hey, leave him alone. There's going to be an election this year. Let the people decide. Just as you did with Trump and did not charge him until after the election. I'm sorry, did not sentence him until after the election. Leave it alone. Let New York City people decide, do they still want Eric Adams or not? If they get rid of him, they get rid of him. Problem solved. They don't get rid of him. They want him. Leave it alone. That's their argument. Again, I know some of you don't believe that or don't like the argument. I'm telling you, there is an argument. That is their argument. It isn't black and white, right? It isn't black. So not the president's agenda. It's the national emergency. That is the argument. So with that in mind, understand this isn't black and white. So that's the point and what they're trying to achieve. So that's why Kathy Hochul is considering removing him. Now you might go, wait a minute. Kathy Hochul is considering removing him. Okay, this must be serious. So Kathy Hochul is going to get together a bunch of maybe constitutional scholars, or maybe they're going to get together a bunch of lawyers who understand how things work, maybe historians, something like that. No. She's hanging out with political leaders and some of you are going to, okay, Mike Voss, if you're watching and you don't know this, hold on to your seat. You might fall out of a chair. She's sitting with people like Hakeem Jeffries and Al Sharpton. Yes, I said Al Sharpton. That's who she's sitting with. That's who she's sitting with. Not constitutional scholars or historians. Hakeem Jeffries, who literally just went, I don't even know if we have any leverage. That guy who's utterly lost and who literally said that Israel is New York State's sixth borough. I'm not making that up. He said that. That guy and Al Sharpton from MSNBC. That's who she's meeting with. Because this is serious. Because this is a crisis. Not because this is political and she's just worried about what she looks like with the rest of the Democrats. That's the worst part. If she actually cared and she was like, this matters, I care about the precedent, wouldn't she have some serious people she'd be talking to? That's because she's not serious. Yeah, she's not serious at all. You might go, but Larry, she's in trouble. She's not. And I'm not going to go back to another I told you so. I told you that Eric Adams made a lot of mistakes in the people that he brought along with him. Remember that a couple months ago when this first came up? I said Eric Adams' problem is when he gives out jobs, he gives jobs out to his personal friends and family, like his sister. I'm not joking. Nepotism is the norm. Again, nepotism is in general how New York State works, right? That's a norm for us. So the thing I liked about what Adams did is Adams openly said it. The rest just kind of pretended like it didn't exist. Like de Blasio gave his wife a job where she just lost $900 million. I'm not making that up. That's real. She just took the money and lost it, like she did that, right? So at least Adams was open. He's like, no, I'm giving my sister a job. That period. I'm giving my buddy from college, I'm giving him a job. I don't care. That part I actually respected. He just said it. Okay. But the problem with that is, what happens now? Well, what happens now is they all left. 4 of his deputy mayors bailed on him. Yeah. I don't see Kathy Hochul's people bailing on him. I didn't see Cuomo's people bailing. In fact, Cuomo's people wrote a book for him. I'm not joking. They wrote a book for him that he was hawking. They wrote a book. I don't see Kathy Hochul's people leaving. I don't see that. I see Eric Adams' people leaving. I told you that. He didn't pick the right people around him. That's why he can't defend himself, and he has to fall back to Uncle Don and say, Uncle Don, you got to get me out of this one. My people, they all bailed on me. You got to get me out of this one. This, by the way, is, I told you this, the reason why Hochul's not scared of Pam Bondi. You might go about Pam Bondi. She's not scared of him. Him. She's not scared of her. She's not. She's not. Kathy Hochul has 2 things, and reason why she's not scared of Pam Bondi. Number 1, Kathy Hochul has a bunch of people who will defend her, who literally their jobs depend upon her being governor. She was very savvy in the cronies she picked. She was very savvy in the people who she gives jobs out to and the people who she bribes. Very good and very savvy at that. That's her skill set. She's a terrible governor, but this she's very good at. So she's not scared. Her people aren't leaving her. She's good. And she has by her side Tish James, the Kingslayer. That's her knight. Her knight is Tish James. She will send her knight off to battle. Tish James is smart and tenacious and is not scared to fight. She is the Kingslayer. She'll be right out there fighting. So Hochul's good. You might think, oh no, that means that, Hochul's scared. Not at all. Hochul will do what she thinks is right for herself. That's it. She's fine. She is fine. So yes, someone just asked, Peanut 767 asked, 4 deputy mayors, how many does the city have? 5. Lost 4. Oh, is it 6? No, 5. Might be 6. No, 5 deputy mayors, 4 left. They'll replace each other. It's fine. That's it. But yeah. Anyway, let me walk down this road if I could. All right. The issue here is hold on. I'm going to bring up Phil. You just brought something up, which is great. Phil says, "Who's Kathy Hochul's Joseph Pericoco who will do a diamond show for her?" Exactly. She has some of those. Cuomo did. Cuomo had people who will do time for him. Cuomo was like a mob boss. I tell you, it's the mob, right? I'm not playing when I say that, right? So Cuomo had guys who go to jail for him. Phil remembers, right? Where's Eric Adams' people? Nobody going to jail for him. I told you this months ago. Eric Adams doesn't understand the hardcore games. That's why he wanted to be mayor. You might say, wait a minute, Larry. He want to be mayor. Can he still be mayor? Yes. Let me repeat this. Even with the issues against Eric Adams, if he does not get removed and Andrew Cuomo does not run, Eric Adams will win again. Let me repeat that. If he does not get removed and Andrew Cuomo does not run, Eric Adams will win again and be mayor again. Yes, that will happen. Larry, that sounds crazy. No, who's going to run against him? Nobody. Nobody wants that job. Why do you want to be the mayor? The mayor of New York City is where your career goes to die. It's where your career goes to die. Why would you want that job? You can't run it. It's notoriously corrupt. Why would you want to do that? Why? Because that's as high as you're going to go, or because that's where you can grift the most, or you're ready to end your career and retire. Well, there we go. Those are the reasons why Eric Adams do it again. Yes, absolutely. Larry, that can't be true. Well, why don't we ask President Bloomberg? Oh, yeah, we can't. Why don't we ask Governor de Blasio? Oh, yeah, we can't. Because once you're done with mayor, you're done. That's the game. You could ask President Giuliani. Oh, no, we can't. Yeah, doesn't work. Once you're mayor of New York, you're done. That's where you're done. Pack your trash, go retire. The guy that we love the most as our previous mayors are people who just we're done. We're good. Thanks. I'm out. That's it, right? Well, I'm just going to go because they get it. It's the end. So he could still win this thing. All right. So let me walk down this road on a couple of things if I could. All right. Why did Kathy Hochul wait? Why didn't she last week immediately take action? Why would she? She has time to wait. And now all these people are resigning. All the resignations are happening. You might be like, this is terrible. All these people are resigning. It's the end of the world. It isn't, for two reasons. One, a chunk of them, not all. Trump had some truth to this. Trump said that a lot of these people are resigning because they would get fired anyway, let go anyway. Some of them absolutely would have. That's true, but not all of them. So there's a chunk of them that actually left anyway. So that's why it isn't as terrible as it might seem, because some of them were going to leave anyway, right? Some of them, yeah, it wouldn't have mattered. But some of them probably would have stayed. So they are losing some. All these people leaving starts to make the Democratic establishment become worried. Because who's going to replace them? What's going to happen? Is there a power base leaving? Is there going to become a secondary, another finger of the Democratic Party that may attack them? That's why she is concerned. That's it. Right? That's it. That's why she's concerned. So that's why she's looking at it. That's why she's talking not to constitutional scholars or lawyers or historians, but to like Al Sharpton and Hakeem Jeffries. That's why she's talking to them, because that's what matters. All right. Is it possible that when the Trump people decide we're dropping the charges, that the judge decides, no, I don't accept this. This is political. You have to, I'm not allowing you to drop the charges. Yes, a judge could do that. The odds of a judge doing that are slim, unless Kathy Hochul squeezes a judge. You might go, that's against the law. Yeah. But unless Kathy Hochul squeezes a judge and says, say no. What happens if a judge says no? The judge goes, no, I'm not accepting the dropping. It puts everything in limbo by default. Because while a judge can say, no, I don't accept this, I'm not accepting you dropping the charges. They can just say no. The judge can't do that. The judge can't force the government to pursue the case. They can't force it. So what do? So you can't force them to pursue the case, but you don't accept the charges are dropped. They'll just sit there over his head. That could be done. That sounds crazy. It's a nuance, but that could be done. That's possible. So keep in mind that could happen. She also needs to make a decision coming up here. I think it's March something or other, if she wants to have a special election for the mayor. Now, here'd be the weird part. You'd have to have a special election for the mayor, then another election in November, which seems insane. So I got a feeling they'll just let this thing go. Now, why did I put these things together? And the reason is because they may mix everything together, right? They may mix them all together. They may be having deals right now saying, hey, Pam Bondi, if we let this go, will you let that go? If we do X, will you do Y? That might be happening behind the scenes right now. I don't doubt it. You might go, Larry, it doesn't make any sense. Why would this case versus getting rid of him, why would it matter? Because they all want something. Remember, the whole reason why Pam Bondi is attacking New York State is to get what she wants out of New York State. She wants, and already, if you see, they're getting it already out of Eric Adams. Well, maybe the answer is leave Eric Adams alone and we won't attack you too hard on this lawsuit. Let him do his thing for us and we'll leave you alone. Oh, you get rid of him, we hammer you harder. You get rid of him, we make this even bigger than it actually is. My gut says they do not get rid of Eric Adams at all, that they leave him right there and he runs. And New York City will decide whether or not he stays. That is what I think is going to happen. Why? Because if Kathy Hochul steps in and gets rid of Eric Adams, the guy who comes in is a guy named Jumaane Williams. Now, I know Jumaane Williams. I like him. He's a good man. If you ever met him, if you ever know him, he's a good guy. He's actually a good guy. I think he's far too left for me, far too left for the city. And he will fight Trump on every single thing. He will go back on everything that Eric Adams said, and they all know that. Now, the question is, does Kathy Hochul, does she want to fight Trump so bad that she doesn't care that she will put Jumaane Williams in that seat to make sure that he will defend? And the reason why he will defend, the reason why Jumaane Williams will stop Trump at every aspect is not because he is TDS. He does not. Jumaane Williams is a true believer. And if you know him, you know what I mean. He's a true believer. He believes that the far left is the right answer. That's going to make everything work well. He honestly believes this. He's a true believer. He will do it because he believes it's right, and he will fight Trump all the way, similar to de Blasio. Him and de Blasio are similar in that regard. De Blasio was also a true believer. All about it. Socialism is the answer, taking all your money. That's who they are. He will do that. Hochul knows this. Now, does the Kingslayer say, put him in the field? Good idea. They might get rid of Eric Adams in that regard. But now New York State just declared war on the Trump administration. If that happens, it is an all-out battle. The question becomes, does the Democratic Party want to make Kathy Hochul and Tish James their front line? That's why you're talking to Hakeem Jeffries. That's why you're talking to Hakeem Jeffries, because he runs the federal, the minority party, federal government. That's why they're talking to Al Sharpton, because that's their mouthpiece, which is MSNBC is their mouthpiece. Right. And it sounds weird, but that's their mouthpiece is MSNBC, Al Sharpton, and the federal government is Hakeem Jeffries. So they're making a decision. Do they want to make New York State the front line fighting Trump? If so, put in Jumaane Williams. He will happily fight that battle. He will throw Holman out of New York City. It will be a fight. Him and Holman will fight like this. And Jumaane Williams will not give up. He is tenacious. He will not give up. I know that guy. Him and I literally were in a home run derby for the Brooklyn Cyclones when I ran for governor. Him and I both ran for governor at the same time. So we were actually in a home run derby together. I actually have video of that. It's kind of funny. I did not win the home run derby, by the way. I got one home run out of like 10 hits or whatever. I consider it a home run, damn it, but just nowhere near. He got more home runs than me. And they had a professional baseball player who hit like 9 home runs. I mean, anyway, I'm complaining. My point being, they would do that. My gut says they don't want that smoke. And the reason why they don't want that smoke is the Democratic Party is not prepared for the battle right now. They don't know what they're doing. I think they leave him. They leave Eric Adams. Let New York City decide. Let Cuomo step in if he wants to. Because Cuomo can beat Adams. Cuomo can beat Adams. He's got the cash, the recognition. That could happen. That's what I think is going to be the issue, if that makes any sense. I know I'm a bit long on that, but I hope that made sense. It's all connected. I do want to move to the corrections piece too. Let me grab a couple of things if I could. A lot of people are talking. Let me grab some comments. Then I'm going to shift over afterwards to that. So, all right. First things first, let me grab some super chats. Garrett, thank you very much for $5. New York is a mess. In other news, days end in Y, more at 11. Correct. You're not wrong, Garrett. But I don't always get a day where I can list 6 in one day, right? I don't always get that day. So I figured, hey, let me take advantage of that day. I actually could do it. So I did. But thank you. Garrett, again, coming in strong. 5 Sharpe memberships. Guys, I say all the time to become a member if you can. It helps tremendously. Please jump on board. Become a member, right? Reach out. I know I was so crazy busy today. I know some of you, I owe some notes from the membership links. I will get on them this week. I promise. It's crazy busy trying to get some work done. So I can still do this. I have an event tomorrow. Seeing if I can get some stuff done here in New York City, raise some money for some issues I'm working on. So hopefully I'll be able to get to it this week. Please jump on a membership if you can. Garrett, thank you again. You are the man. I appreciate everything you do. All right. If I could grab some more of these. I'm looking over at Instagram, and the AP Beautiful asks, are you running for governor again? I am looking at it. I really am. I have not decided yet, but I am looking at it. It looks like I may have a shot at making some real impact in 2026. The governor races in 2026. If I could do it, it would be great. Garrett54 says, please get rid of Hochul. I would love to. Mike says, but why do they want to drop the charges without prejudice? So they can hold the charge over his head after the election. Correct, Mike. That's accurate. Yes, that you are correct. They want him to move forward on the agenda. But again, from their point of view, their argument is it isn't Trump's agenda. It's the national emergency, which happens to be Trump's agenda. But that's the argument is all I'm saying. It's a different argument in that regard. All right. I'm looking over at Rumble now. And here, Joel says, Adams committed the sin of talking to Trump. Yes, that is a sin. That's accurate. Remember when the MSNBC people did it? Boy, the world was ending. That is correct. Yes, that was terrible. So yeah. All righty. I do appreciate that. He goes on to say, has anything real or true or good ever happened with the involvement of Al Sharpton? Yes. Yes. And that would be, he wrote a book in the 90s, I think, maybe 2000s, called Al on America. I'm not joking. I read it. The book actually wasn't bad. He was running for president, and he was trying to let people know that he could actually, Al Sharpton could be president of all Americans, not just Black America. That's what he actually said. Yes. So that's what he was trying to let us know. So he wrote a book, Al on America. And there was a part of that book that was actually good. You said anything. Well, here's the thing. Al Sharpton, I'll never forget this because it was actually brilliant. He was actually talking about taking accountability. Yes, Al Sharpton was talking about that. I know you're shocked, Joel, but it's true. It's in his book. He says, if you push me down, that's on you. If you come back a week later and I'm still on the ground, that's on me. And I always thought that was a good thing that Al Sharpton said. I always try to find something good. I always try to make sure everything, that I can be good when I can and give credit where credit was due. You asked if there was one thing that has ever happened, real, good, or true, Joel. That's the thing. Yes, there is one thing that did happen. There we go. So now you are probably wondering, is there anything? There is. Let me grab a couple comments here if I can. All righty. So many of you have grabbed this. Rick says, thank you for being a member, Rick. To paraphrase and twist a line from Back to the Future, where we're going, we don't need freedoms. We got roads. Well, I would rather have the freedoms, Rick, but I get it. So, yes. Joel says, there has been a rash of drug overdose-like issues, possibly fentanyl, that guards have had physically contacting a prisoner. All right. Let me move towards that piece now, if I could. And the reason why I didn't want to go to that one right away and I wanted to go to the first one right away is because this one actually bothers me. Before I go there, guys, do me a favor, click the button known as like Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. I'm about to talk about some personal stuff that I want to bring up that really does matter, if I could do that. But click that button. I know you like it. Otherwise, why would you be listening to me rant, right? So click the button, all right? If you don't click the like button, that means you like Andrew Cuomo. See that? Because I ran against him. Next, please share this if you have not. Repost this if you can. Whether you put it into Facebook group, on X, wherever you do, please do so. If you have not followed me on Facebook, X, and Rumble, please do so now. Go over there, click the follow button. I would like that very much. If you have not subscribed to me on YouTube, please go over and hit subscribe on YouTube and select all notifications. Please do that so that you get all notifications. That does matter. Super chats are great. If you can super chat me, it helps. Absolutely. Or you can rant me on Rumble if you like. Either of those work. Membership is always important. So please, if you can, become a member. Click that join on YouTube for $49 per month. Or click Rumble, subscribe during the live $49 per month. The more members I have, the less I have to work, the less times I'll be late because I'm out working. So yes, as I mentioned, was it last night? This show, every time I do a show, the show is about 2 hours. Prep is at least an hour, if not two. And then, so sometimes it's more than that. Following up with people is on the hour or so, if not. This easily can take 4 to 6 hours every day out of my day. And for me to work and do that, I can't sleep. So I would like to sleep here or there. So every membership does count. It means I can work less and still take care of things. So that's what I appreciate that. So anyway, all right, let me keep going through here. All right, Mastermind Hour. Thank you for being a member. It says, dehydrated Al Sharpton, just that principle. Yes. He can speak, though. I mean, he's good at that. So Roy on Facebook says, there's no question she can legally remove or replace him. I don't think she can replace him, Roy. I think she has to call for a special election. And Jumaane Williams, who is the current public advocate, for those who don't live in New York City, public advocate is the closest thing we have in New York City to like vice mayor or lieutenant mayor. If the mayor goes away for any reason, the public advocate steps into that spot. So I don't think she can replace him, right? But she can absolutely remove him. Yes, she can remove him. That's true, 100%. So can it's a special commission that can also remove him. So there's 2 ways he can be removed, but he can't be replaced. The replacement is automatically Jumaane Williams. She can call for a special election. in which case Jumaane Williams can run in it if he wants to remain mayor. He has said publicly he would not do that, by the way. Jumaane has said he wants to remain public advocate. That's what he wants to do. So he would be the mayor during the interim period, but he would not, what he said, he would not run. Whoever runs would become mayor and he would go back to being public advocate. That's what he said. He wanted to run for governor, not mayor. I wonder why. As I said, he knows that once you're the mayor, you're finished. So Jumaane Williams run for governor twice, never run for mayor. I remember. He might have. I don't think he did. That's what he said. So then again, also, by the way, even if she removes Eric Adams can still run in a special election. Yes. So Eric Adams, even after being removed, could actually run in a special election. And if he wins in a special election, he's reelected. She would have to remove him again and call for another special election. I know it's kind of weird. I know it's a nuance, Roy, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that. I don't think she can replace him. She can remove, and he could, in theory, run in a special election. Because there's no law that I'm aware of. I'm not 100% sure on that. But there's no law that I'm aware of that would stop him from actually running in a special election. He could do it. So, yes. Anyway, that's good. Mike says, like Sharpe has anything to do with any elected office or has ever been voted the voice representing anyone. Yeah, but he's MSNBC, so he's the mouthpiece, right? Because whatever she does, MSNBC is going to push forward that piece, right? So they have to make sure that she knows that. I mean, if she's going to spin this in some way, Mike, and say, oh, I'm doing it because of X or because of Y or whatever is her reason that she's going to come up with, guys like Sharpe then be like, yeah, we got you. And then they go on MSNBC and then they promote whatever she says. I'm not making that up. We know that's literally corporate media for them. That's their mouthpiece. So Sharpton will make sure it's good. There we go. In any case. So Voss goes on to say, Cuomo will absolutely run. I'm not sure of that, man. I know you are. You've said it before. I'm not sure, right? He goes on to say, the corruption is his friend and thinks he can revitalize his hopes of governor and or president. If New York City forgot to lock down sex assaults, the nation did too. I get your point. I do, but I'm not sure it's that black and white at all. Cuomo's looking to see how bad Hochul does, if there's a chance he can deal with her, if there's a chance he can become the new guy to run for president in 2028. He's got a lot of stuff up his sleeve now. So I'm not sure it's that simple. And even he can't fix New York City. And he's like a mob boss. He can't fix New York City. You know that. He knows that too. It's not that easy. If he's going to do it, he has a serious plan. Cuomo's no dummy, right? Clearly I don't like Cuomo. But it doesn't mean I don't respect the game. He's no dummy, right? He got out of that issues that he got with no charges, no nothing, clean. He's no dummy. He knows how to get around that stuff. So I'm not sure. I don't think it's so black and white is what I'm saying. That's it. So, yeah. All righty. Phil goes on to say, remember that time Mayor Giuliani ran for president and Judge Pataki? I remember that. Both did not go well. It did not go well. I would agree with you. That did not go well at all. All righty. I think I covered most of these up to, I think I covered most of these up to what I wanted to cover. All right. Yeah. All right. So let me head over to the next piece that I wanted to bring up. And that is the corrections officers. Those of you who know my story, you know that my father was a corrections officer. He was a cop first in New York City, and then a corrections officer in Rikers Island. Years later, my mother was an addict and was a felon and went to jail, and I pulled her out of prison. So I have seen both sides of this. I've seen it from the corrections officer side, and I've seen it from the convict side. I've seen both sides of it. So I actually have what I think is, for most people, a more nuanced view of this. One of the reasons why New York State's prisons are so bad, there are many reasons, but one of them is we don't listen to the two most important people we should be listening to most important groups. Group number one, the corrections officers themselves. We ignore them completely, give them no respect, and treat them terribly, number one. Number two, the family members of the people who are in prison. We ignore them, don't help them. We're terrible to them. We don't help them out at all. We don't focus on the two most important groups. That's a problem. They're the ones who have the most to lose. They're the ones who are affected the most. And they're the ones who didn't do anything wrong. Right? So you might go, but Larry, these people in prison, they're bad people. They're criminals. Okay. Couple parts of that. Number one, in New York State, the percentage of violent conviction, 17%. Not 70, 17. That means most people convicted in New York State are not violent. And of those that are violent, a lot of them actually aren't violent. They're what's called VFO, which is violent felony offense. That's what it's called in New York State, VFO. VFO, if you have a firearm in any way, shape, or form, you are considered violent. You're violent. Doesn't matter what you did with it. Doesn't matter what you did with it. Yes. Dexter Taylor, I spoke about him many times on my show, is now a convicted felon in New York State. He hurt no one. There is no victim. He is a violent felon. Why? Because it's a gun charge. By default, you are a violent felon. So he is a violent felon, according to New York State, convicted of a VFO because he had a firearm. That's it. That's the reason. That's how that works. So when you put that into account, you have a bunch of people in prison who aren't violent. Now, I know there's a stat that people tell me, Larry, but most people in prison are violent offenders. That's true. Most who are currently in prison are. But those people are in prison for a very long period of time. The non-violent ones aren't in for as long, so they rotate through. So while, yes, the majority are violent, that's true, the chunk that's not a majority rotates through. If you add all of them up, they're far more than the people who are there for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. These people are here for 5, 10, 6. Rotate right through. So now you're saying, but wait a minute. So that means a lot of people aren't violent? Yes. So why am I treating an entire system of people like some of the most horrible people that we have in the system? And I'm going to be very forward. I'm not someone who says, all prisoners are awesome. No, there are some horrible people in prison. Yes, who deserve to stay forever, who probably should never get out. They exist. Of course they do. Lots of them are in prison. That's why they're in prison, because they're horrible people doing horrible things. However, they are not the majority of people convicted. So there are a whole lot of people who deal with that issue. But I go one step further. There's also people who are in prison who are innocent. Lots of them. I know. I've been on cases. I have watched our system put innocent people in prison. And it bothers me so much. It happened last week to me. A man who is not guilty now has been convicted and will go to prison. He is not guilty. Larry, how do you know that? I'm on the defense team, which means they tell me everything. I know who's guilty and who's not. They tell me everything. I know he's not guilty. And he's going to jail. And he's going to prison. Yes, happens all the time. Larry, it doesn't happen often. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All the time. Yes, it does. So innocent people go to jail too. They go to prison also. So that's why I care about this, right? I care about this. Add on top of that, I have corrections officers who are forgotten. Wait a minute, corrections officers are evil. They kill people. I hear that all the time. The vast majority of corrections officers don't hurt or harm or kill people. The vast majority don't. And they're forgotten. When we think about law enforcement, we think about cops. I get it. They're part of law enforcement. Makes sense. What about parole officers? What about corrections officers? Aren't they part of law enforcement? We seem to forget them. And I'm going to give you some stats that I gave earlier today during my radio show at 1 p.m. today, but I'm giving them here now too. Every single corrections officer I've ever met, everyone, knows someone who's committed suicide. Everyone. Not just that. Everyone I know that I've ever met knows exactly when they're going to retire. 4 years, 10 weeks, 5 months and 30 and 13 years. They know exactly when they're going to retire. All of them. All of them. The average lifespan of a correctional officer in New York State, 59 years. Yes, they die at 59 years old, 60 years old, 58 years old. They die. Yes. So the system is hurting the prisoners, it's hurting the corrections officers, and it's hurting the family members. Particularly family members who are saying to themselves, my son, my daughter, my friend, my husband, my wife, my whoever, usually males, it's usually son and husband, but it's females too, but it's far more men than women, but whichever, it doesn't matter. They need to do their time and get home, so we can bring them back into the family. What happens to them? When the corrections officers go on strike, what winds up happening? You can't do visitations anymore. So you trying to keep your son in his son's life? Nope, can't visit him anymore. When they shut the prisons down and move people all around, well, I set my life up so that I can get my kids to go see their dad. Well, now the prison moved and changed and shifted all over the place. And again, people go, I don't care, Larry, they're criminals. Most 17% are violent. Most aren't. Most aren't. You're punishing all of them for 17%. Don't forget that. You're punishing all of them for 17%. Not fair. Not just that. Most of them are going to come back. Whether they're coming back to your neighborhood, come to your city, to your town, to your county. Don't you want to give them a shot at getting back in action? A shot at getting back in action? Yeah. You think that you want them to? The idea of these people being ignored, and I mean the prisoners, the families, and the corrections officers, is harming all of us. And no one talks about it. If you don't watch this show, you don't hear about this. I'm the one who complains about this. I talked about this in 2018. In 2018, I was talking about the problems because I would visit prisons. I would literally go to the prisons during the shift, and I would sit out front and just talk to the corrections officers coming in and coming out. Hey, what's going on? How you doing? Have conversations. Then I go to the waiting areas. That's where the people who are going to go visit their incarcerated, family member. I just go there and go talk to the families, and it's filled with exactly what you would think. Exactly what you would think. Women and children. Yes, those waiting rooms are filled with women and children. It's a stereotype. I don't give a crap if it's a stereotype. It's true. Go to one of them. You will see it. You'll see like one dude and like 30 kids and like 15 women. That's what you're going to see. That's how it works. That's what you're going to see. You can say I'm crazy, whatever. That's just truth. So I went there to talk to him. I see how they felt. They moved him to there and this happens and blah, blah, blah. And they can't communicate here. All kind of problems. No one's paying attention. What are they doing? It's a massive grift. They take a bunch of money. They give it to consultants. Consultants come in, trash everything. Don't ask what the family members care about. Don't care what the CEOs care about. Go in, put them together. It doesn't work. They take the money and leave. And who's left to clean it up? Corrections officers, family members. That's who's left to clean it up. That's New York State. Been happening for decades. I've been talking about it for 8 years. No, 9 years now? 2017? 8 years. I've been talking about it for 8 years. I'm not talking about it. And now it's come home. Now we're going to have to. Everything I talked about 7 years ago is now coming to fruition. So now I got CEOs who are quitting. So what does that mean? You might go, so Larry, why do we care about that? So they quit. So we'll put the National Guard in. Do you know in New York State, the largest mental health facility is in our state? It's our prison system. The largest one of all is Rikers Island. It's our prison system. Rikers Island being the jail that's actually the largest mental health facility in the entire state. It's not hospitals. It's not rehab centers. It's prisons. So what do I have to do in prison? I have to give these people meds. Well, Larry, what do I care if they don't get their meds? If they don't get their meds, they are going to be even more violent, and you have people who are never going to get out. If you're never going to get out and you don't get your meds, you are literally going to kill someone. That's not an exaggeration. There's no hyperbole. You are literally going to kill someone. And that someone might be a corrections officer. That someone might be some guy who did some victimless crime who's going to get out in 2 years, have a chance at life. Well, now he's got a knife in his back and he's dead. Well, we'll punish that guy. How? He's never getting out anyway. He doesn't care. He literally does not care. He's never getting out. So I'd like people to get their meds in prison. I'd like them to not stab random people who are trying to do their job. I'd like it to happen. I'd like them to get your meds, get fed. I'd like all those things to happen. I'm not saying that the people they'll bring in, the National Guard, are going to try to hurt people. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they're not corrections officers. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to go well. It's not going to go well. Peace, thank you for the $10. I appreciate the super chat. Are you familiar with the Innocence Project? Of course. Maybe we can help. Innocent Project, Google that. They're trying to get people out, which is awesome, and they do wonderful work. That's not going to help in this case. This is an issue with the brain dead chimps that we have in the New York State Assembly, the absolute pieces of garbage we have in the New York State Assembly who run it right now, who just make insanely stupid laws and rules and won't fix anything. A governor who doesn't care and won't do anything and pretends like she cares, but she won't do anything. So, and a system in general who goes, I don't care about prisons, because we think in our heads, if we lean more left, we go, all the guards are evil and they just kill black people. That's what the left thinks. And the right goes, they're all prisoners. Who cares? Let them rot. I get both of those too. And both of those are wrong. But that's what we get here in our state. And we go back to blue, which is cops, not corrections officers. So, yes, I love Innocence Project. In this case, it's not going to help. Duke of Hex, thank you for the $10. Bear in mind all the exonerations through the Innocence Project. Yes, the state avoids these exonerations because it causes distrust in the system. It can be financially costly due to potential lawsuits. Correct. Yes, there are innocent people all the time in jail. Yes, all the time, constantly. You are correct. And they do nothing. And remember something. If you are a district attorney or a prosecutor, I want you to understand this, and you find out that a person you put away is innocent, you are not obligated to pull them out of prison. You're not obligated to tell anybody. You're not obligated to do anything. Let me repeat that. You are not obligated to do anything. None. Yes. So why would you? Why would you break your conviction rate? Why would you make your state or the people around you look bad when you're not obligated to? If you find out later, they can't do anything to you. They can't do anything to you. Cannot touch you. Just go, well, yeah, I did it. Harris did it. Kamala Harris did it. Whatever, whatevs. No difference whatsoever. So you are correct. Yes. Joel over on Rumble says, National Guard as COs will not be mentally prepared for the situation. Correct. Correct. If you think that a corrections officer who does this for a living, who's done this for 10, 15 years, they break, how's some reservist National Guardsman going to handle that? Never. Never. They're never going to handle that. It's not a thing. So, any case, I say this because this matters. It's important. It affects the entire state. It affects law enforcement. It affects the families of the people who are in trouble. It affects nonviolent people. And the people who are violent, who are going to be in jail forever, they're still in jail forever. Leave them. Leave them. That piece really is important to understand. We as a state, and I'm sure your state, if you don't live in New York State, you have problems too like this. We have to get our prison system in order. Why? Because we have so many prisoners when they come out. They have to do something. We have to make them part of our system in some way, shape, or form. Remember, 17% of the convictions are violent. That's 83% of the people who get convicted can come back out if they're not made violent in prison by crazy people who are going to be stabbing them. If they can stay nonviolent, they can come back out and get a second chance at life. And they have families and friends who would like them to have a second chance at life. Why don't we give them that? We should. We should. We need to make sure that the next time we have a conversation, it's not with the National Guard, which is what Kathy Hochul wants to do. It's not just with CO unions, which it should be, but not just them. It's also with the families of the people who are in trouble. Now, why am I not saying the actual people in jail? That's important too, but they're already defended, if that makes any sense. They already have rights. That may sound great, but they already do. They already have some rights. I'm worried about the family members. What rights do they have? Because they're the ones who are going to take the people back in. They're the ones who are fighting to get their people out. And in crazy parts, this is something that people don't know. In some specific pieces, sometimes the families don't want them out. Oh, that happens too, where the family's like, no, keep him in. Because when he comes out, he wrecks our family. And he's going back in anyway. So he comes out, wrecks our family, and then goes back in again. Keep him in. Now, that's rare, obviously. Most people love their family members and want them out. But listen to that family too. If the family's going, no, keep them in there. If the family's doing that, maybe we should listen. Just saying, maybe we should listen. You just had people recently, just a cop just got shot here in New York City. Guy's been out. Guy was arrested, I'm not joking, while on parole. They let him go. Let me say it again. Got arrested while on parole. Let him out again. Fourth time on parole. I'm not joking. That's our system. So the violent guys who will shoot cops, those guys are good. We got him out. But then the guy who's in there, who again, the 83% of convicts who are not violent, that guy has to stay in jail, can't get his meds, can't get fed, has to get stabbed by a career criminal. What kind of system do we have here? I've yapped away. It's something that bothers me. We should fix this. I've seen it from both sides. From my father being a corrections officer to my mother coming out after prison and struggling horribly to get a job, struggling horribly to get back in action, struggling to stay away from the bad influences that got her in prison in the first place. And if you know anyone who's a felon, or if you're one yourself, you know how hard that can be. If all you know is a negative environment and you come out and go back to it, pretty hard to get your act back together. I would much rather have it to where you come out and now all of a sudden you got a shot, right? That's what I want. Anyway, let me keep walking down this road. I'm going to grab some of these if I could. Planet 767 says, if the public advocate replaces the mayor, what's up with the 5 deputy mayors? No, the 5 deputy mayors, how it works in New York City, are selected by the mayor. So you just decide who your deputy mayors are. You pick them as a mayor. But the people elect the public advocate so that if the mayor steps down, you get at least an elected official, not a selected official. That's how that works in New York City. So just so you know, it does change. So deputy mayors, some of the deputy mayors were like literally like his sister. And again, that's New York City. That's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. I wasn't joking. De Blasio, who was our former mayor, literally gave his wife a job where she just lost $900 million. Again, do your homework. That's a real thing. So that's normal in my city. That's whatever. That's how that works. So yes. All righty. If I can grab some more of these if I can. All righty. IC is in the house. Evening, Larry and chat. Thank you. I'm glad you are here. I appreciate that. Yes. Let's see if I can grab this here. So many people here popping a bunch of stuff. I appreciate that. All right. Carmen says, what breed is James and Kathy Hochul? Where the hell did they come from? They don't look like normal human beings to me. They are very savvy politicians. Carmen is who they are. They're very savvy politicians. Hochul's been in government for at least 30 years. She was I think city council, in Hamburg, New York, which is Erie County, far western New York. Same county Buffalo, New York is in. I think she's from Hamburg. I think that's like a suburb kind of Buffalo. It's a town outside of Buffalo. I think that's where she's from, but it's that area she is from. She was a congressperson from Western New York. She was lieutenant governor and now governor. So she's been in government a long time. That's how she knows how the game is played, right? Letitia James, she goes by Tish James. She is a very savvy, aggressive attorney, prosecutor, AG. That's where she comes from. So she's all about the system, She will fight and defend that system unto death. That's why I tease and I call her Kingslayer. She's the reason why Cuomo's gone. She took down Cuomo, and she's the reason why Trump has 34 convictions. It's because of her. She's directly the one. She is the Kingslayer. So that's who they are. Very long-term career politicians. That's who they are. I hope I answered that question. So, yes. Mike says, Cuomo isn't trying to win. He's taking temperature of the public, how much Dem support and donations, then shifts gears. No way. Zero chance of that, Mike. There is no way Cuomo takes an L. No way. Nope. Cuomo will never take an L. If Cuomo runs, he runs to win. That's it. Or he doesn't run. There is no way Cuomo takes an L. That's why he's not sure. He wants to make sure that if he wins, he can get the W that he wants, and he's got a pathway out. He needs a pathway out of mayorship. But it's a pathway to the governorship, a pathway, to your point, to VP, a pathway to president, whatever. He's got to have a pathway out. Otherwise, he knows he's stuck in mayor, he's done. The only way he does it is if he actually believes he can win 100%, if he believes that. I mean, obviously no one knows 100%. But he'll have to believe that he's going to win 100% and is a pathway out. For example, I'm making this up totally, Mike, but conceptually. He believes that, I don't know, he can run for mayor and he makes a deal that I'm going to pull something totally out of the air, but just so you'll get my point. He make a deal that Pritzker's going to run for governor. No, maybe Gavin Newsom's better. Gavin Newsom's going to run for governor and going to make him the VP. Something like that. Or Hochul agrees that she's going to step down and he's going to become the run for governor. Or the Democratic Party of New York State turns on Hochul and says, we want you back and we'll support you, in a run. Or Working Families Party turns. I'm making all these things up because I don't know if any of them are realistic. But the point is, if he doesn't believe there's some pathway out, he will not do it. If he thinks he will lose, he will not do it. He will only do it if he believes he's going to win 100% and he believes the pathway out. Otherwise, no way. Taking the temperature, that's called polling. He's got 20 some odd $1 million in his campaign account. He can afford polling. No way. So, Ryan, thank you for the $5. He says, Larry, nepotism is also very rampant here in Southeast Missouri as well. That's the only thing that the Big Apple and Southeast Missouri agree upon. Yeah, we do love our Nepo babies, don't we? That's like our thing. We do like them a lot. We really enjoy them. And look, again, the thing I would want to say about him that I actually did agree with is Adams was blatantly open on it. He's like, I'm giving my sister a job. He gave his sister a job. I'm not joking. He said, I'm just doing it. Be mad at me all you want. Everyone else did it. I don't care. I'm doing it. And he was right. And I'm not mad at him for it. I'm mad at him for many other things. I'm not mad at him for that. That is the way New York does business. It's how we work. I'm not surprised at all. Not even the least. So, all right, I'll grab some more if I can. Let's see here. Matt says, thank you for being a member, Matt. I appreciate all you members. I really do. I do appreciate that. He says, is Rikers Island the inspiration for Arkham Asylum? I don't think so. That was actually, was it Bellevue Hospital? Mental Hospital was actually, I think it was. I think that's what it was. I think it was Bellevue Mental Hospital was the archetype for it. The inspiration, I think, for it. So yeah, that's what I believe it was. But then again, maybe because that is an island, right? And Rikers Island, maybe, it could be a mix. I don't think so, though. Yeah. Andrea, thank you for being a member, says, the National Guard are not trained to handle prisoners, especially ones who have mental issues. Thank you. This is not going to do well. Mike goes on to say, Rob Ort said, oh yeah, Rob Ort, is he a state senator? No, state assemblyman, right? Said it well when he said that National Guard is not trained to police trains or run a prison. Yes, this will only lead to bigger problems. Yes, it's Hochul's Dems do something excuse that never works. Yes, and yes, Mike. 100%. This is a big issue. It's you can't do nothing, so do something. And then when things get worse, I don't know. Here's what I know, Mike. Somehow they'll blame Trump. I haven't figured out how, but if there's a way to blame him, he did it, I guess. So yeah, that'll be the issue. So yes. Yeah. All righty. Roy says, ironically, the Innocence Project, which has exonerated hundreds of innocents, was started by some of the attorneys who helped get OJ a not guilty verdict. Is that true? Roy, I didn't even know that. That's amazing. Look at that. There was something good out of that whole thing. Look at that. See that? There we go. I like that. All right. Andrea, is this to me? Do you think the lifers should be in their own wards? I'm not sure about that, to be forward, right? Because here's I'm torn on this, Andrea, because everyone, even the lifers, still deserve basic human rights, right? Or you have to execute them. And I don't want to execute them, right? I don't believe the government should be executing people. I don't believe that. But if you're not going to execute them, then they're going to live, and you got to give them basic human rights, right? It's how you have to do it, right? So I'm against death penalty. Let me be clear on death penalty. I'm not necessarily utterly morally against death penalty. I could see a reason why someone may want to, someone such a bad or horrible person that you might want to kill them. It's possible. The problem is I don't trust government to make the decision. That's why I'm against the death penalty. So could you give me a reason where I would say it makes sense? Yes, I could see that. I just don't trust government to be the arbiter of that at all. They've been so bad at it. I don't see it. That's why I'm against the death penalty completely. I'm utterly against it because I don't believe government can do a good job of it at all. They haven't. If I would have to somehow be convinced that government could be like 99.9 repeating, then I still might be against it. But at least then I'd be open to the conversation. The government's nowhere near that. I mean, not even close to that. So that's why I'm against it. But the concept, I'm not sure. Anyway, and again, why I say that, because do I want, here is what I know. When it comes to psychopathy, and psychopathy is the big deal, about 20 to 25% of our prison population is psychopathic. I'm not making it up. They've done brain scans. You can do your own homework. It's dependent on where you are. It's about that amount. Those people who are psychopathic, they need medication, obviously, but they also want to be around people who are not violent. Just because you're a sociopath does not mean by default you are violent. It just means you don't have empathy. Now, that means you'll still want to do things to get what you want, or whatever the case may be. It doesn't mean you'll naturally move to violence. If you are raised with violence as your way of getting what you want and you are a psychopath, you're going to jail. It's like a math problem. Violence plus psychopathy equals jail or death, either one, right? That's how it works. So even the psychopaths that are in prison, that percentage of the population, if you have them around people who are peaceful and who are solving problems without violence, some of them will resort to nonviolence, which is what I would like. Some of them will not. Those who will stay violent need to go there. So maybe violent wards like that, maybe. But just because you're a lifer doesn't mean you're violent. And people go, look, perfect example, Ross Ulbricht was a lifer and was nonviolent. So punishment for violence might be your own ward, if that makes sense. But I don't want, just because you're a lifer, to be that. I want you to have the opportunity to, maybe mentor some guys who are going to get out, whatever the case may be. I want to give someone an opportunity to have basic human rights and to be able to still make something out of their life, even if they're going to be in prison their entire life. There are people who will be in prison their entire life and will still do something. They'll write a book. They will assist others. They will help someone else get out of jail. They will still do something with their life, even though they're going to be in prison. And if you're going to be in prison and we're paying for you, I'd rather you do something with your life. So that's why I would say no. So yes. Any case. Peace Logic over on Rumble. Thank you for the $1 to rant. Sometimes I mention free will. Understanding this will give you more empathy. People are not inherently good or evil. Some are born in a bad zip code. Also true. I think that's also true. Yes. Both of those things are true. So absolutely. All righty. Let's see if I can go down here. I do have a lot of these. I do want to grab some more of these. Thomas says, when the prisoner is sentenced, it's not just him receiving the sentence. Their family and friends are also serving a sentence of their own, albeit not for prison, but a sentence the same. That is my point. You're exactly right, Thomas. There are other people who are also being punished here, right? And it doesn't mean that the guy who did the bad thing shouldn't be punished. It just means that we as a society should accept that there are other people being punished too. That's all I'm saying. Empathy in this case does matter. We do have to worry about that also, right? Again, I'm not saying all of a sudden we shouldn't do that. that, okay, so now because someone else is affected, the guy shouldn't go to jail. I'm not saying that. I'm saying recognize, to your point, Thomas, when that person is sentenced, others are sentenced too, right? And I'll go right back to Dexter Taylor. Dexter Taylor has a teenage daughter. That teenage daughter just lost her father. All we talk about in America when it comes to fatherless Black men who are fatherless, leaving their families, he didn't do that. He was active in his daughter's life. The state said, you have to go away. And who's the victim? Oh, right. Nobody. Who's the violent person? Not him. Now he's a teenage daughter who no longer has her father. That's our system. It's not just, oh, these bad, evil people. There's lots of bad, evil people. Yes. He's not one of them. And now there's a young Black teenage girl who had a father in her life who no longer does. To your point, Thomas, she is now punished. For what? What does she do? In fact, what did he do? Nothing. But even if he was a bad guy and did something bad, she's punished too. Your point is a very valid one. We should be considering that. We should. Because we all know this. The less fathers in families, the higher chance that things go badly for those kids. You might get mad at that. I don't care. It's true. It's documented. It's accurate. You can go check it yourself. The less fathers in people's lives, the higher chance that there's bad things going to happen. That's how it works. More fathers, higher odds. Doesn't mean something's going to be bad because dad's in their life. Doesn't mean that, but it does increase. Yes. So there we go. Mike says, we are both apparently wrong. Apparently, Arkham is based on Danvers State Insane Asylum in Danvers, Massachusetts. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there we go. That's where it's based on. Now we know. Now we know. So, all righty. Christine says, Orange Man bad. Everything in the world that's wrong is his fault. You're not wrong, Christine. You're not wrong. So, yeah, you're not wrong. It's absolutely true. So, yeah. Roy goes on to say, the Innocence Project was a response to a study that 70% of wrongful convictions were based on false eyewitness testimony. Thus, the focus on DNA evidence to scientifically exonerate those convicted based on someone thinking they look guilty. Yeah, that is correct. Yes, that's accurate. Thank you for that, Roy. And I remember that's when Andrea and I, was it yesterday or the day before, we talked about that idea that in Illinois, there were people then saying, no, we can't let them out. We can't let them out because then the system is no good. So we got to make sure that we have a good system. So yeah, absolutely. Yep. All righty. Let's see if I can grab a couple of these here. Minor Threat says, psychopathy is different than antisocial. Psychopaths, not as common. Correct. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, correct. The definition of being antisocial means you have trouble with people in some way, shape, or form. Being a psychopath means literally you don't have empathy. You can't connect with people. You physically impossible. Stuff in your brain. And there is an argument to how much of that is born and how much of that happens through trauma. I don't know. I'm unsure. And I know there's something back and forth about that. So yeah, thank you for that. I do appreciate that. So yeah, Andrea says, what New York did to Dexter Taylor was unjust. Correct. Absolutely. Correct. Yes. Ryan goes on to say, what New York State did to Dexter Taylor was insane. Yes. And why do you think I sit here talking about prison reform? Criminal justice reform? All the time. Constantly. Right? And do you think that a bunch of the CEOs don't know that? Here's what I'm sure of. The CEOs who talk to Dexter Taylor, just talk to him. You can see, if you want to, Dexter Taylor, Larry Sharpe, you can see the interview I did with him. You can see him. They will know this guy doesn't belong here. They will know that. Now, they can't stop it. They're CEOs. That's how it has to work, right? So he's going to be stuck there. They know that. But then they're going to try to not be a jerk to him. They're going to say in their head, let this guy do his time and get out. I've met them and they say it. I've done interviews with corrections officers and they go, yeah, we know some of the guys. They're going to do their time and leave. And that's it. And we leave them alone. They leave us alone. We leave them alone. We're good. In fact, some of them, and this is another piece that people don't know, some people who are in jail want to go into solitary confinement. because they don't want to get in trouble. It's like, I'll go to solitary. I don't want to get in trouble. I'm going to do my X years and get out. And they voluntarily want to go all the time. Happens all the time. People want it. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm saying it's true. It's how it works, right? It's how it works. So some people actually want that. Anyway, a little bit nutty, I know. Let me grab a couple more comments if I could. I appreciate all the comments that you guys are popping up. I really do. So Peace Logic over on Rumble says, there was a cool talk on TED Talk on psychopaths. The ironic thing is the guy doing the research figured out that he was a psychopath because he had a loving family and wasn't triggered. Yes, I remember that he did it. Did he write a book too? I think that was the guy, if I remember. He actually, that guy who you're talking about, Peace, I think he was the guy who found out the brain scan. There's a brain scan you can do to know if you are a psychopath. Literally, it's scientific, right? You just do a brain scan, up, psychopath. And he's got to figure it out. And while he's going through, he looks at it, his brain scan and goes, oh my God, I'm a psychopath. And when he talked to his family was like, yeah, we knew. But to your point, Peace, just because we think of a psychopath as that's the mass murderer who kills all the people. Well, true, generally, the mass murderer tends to be a psychopath. That's true, but it doesn't mean every psychopath is a mass murderer. If you raise a psychopath with love, the psychopath acts loving, even if they're not, because that's how they learn to react and work in society. And this guy, to Peace's point, says he had a loving family. So he acted accordingly. His parents treated him with love. His family and friends did. His wife and kids. I remember the guy's wife and kids. They love him. So he reacts with love, even though to be forward, it's going to sound weird. It's not real love. And this is the hardest part. He actually doesn't love his family. And you might go, wait a minute. He doesn't love his family? He can't. He's a sociopath. He can't love his family. He doesn't. He's connected to them. He needs them. They need him. And they interact socially. And he does things that are loving because he's been taught that's what you do. He can't kiss his wife with love. He doesn't love his wife. Can he act passionately? Yes, he's learned to. And if you look at people who've talked about psychopaths learn to act effectively. They're some of the best actors in the world. There was a story I remember about someone talking about how some sociopaths will go in the mirror and try to act what they want. They go, I don't know, I got to smile better. I'm not, because they know that's how it works. So if you're a sociopath, you literally cannot love. It is physically impossible for you. You don't have that in your head. You can't. And it's really weird. And I've met sociopaths before, many of them. And it's going to sound weird. I'll give you a little inside baseball, a little bit off topic, but I think you may enjoy it. Many of you know my day job. Sometimes I do coaching and training with executives. And I've met many executives, specifically in the finance world, who are sociopaths. So when I would coach them to do the right thing, I wouldn't coach them with the logic of do this because it's the right thing. That doesn't land. They don't get that. I would coach them because I would say, in the long run, it's effective. And they go, oh, so you play in a long game. Yes. So they would do something that will be a good thing for someone to help somebody out. And they would think, well, I'm helping this guy out. Because again, no empathy. They're not mad. It's like, doesn't make any sense. That's not giving me anything. Why would I do that? I'm not getting anything from that. Right. Yes. Not now. But then later, oh, got it. Then people see that. But yeah. So they don't do it because it's the right thing. They do it because it works for them in the long run, or they're thinking in the long game. And sociopaths notoriously do not think well for the long game. They have short-term thinking. That's a common trait for sociopaths. So you have to teach them to have long-term thinking. It's not a common thing. They're looking for the now, which is why many sociopaths have addictions, because addiction is searching for the pleasure now, pleasure now, pleasure now. You'll find many of them who have addictions. It's a common problem. Gambling addiction, drug addiction, shopping addiction. Many sociopaths have addictions because of that. Always looking for the thing now. You've trained them to be long-term thinkers. And that guy, obviously, Peace is talking about, had a great family who trained him effectively, raised him well. He's able to do those things. So yes. Anyway, there's tons of books on. There's the psychopath test. The Sociopath Next Door. There's book upon book upon book on psychopathy. They've done a lot of homework on it recently, the last 10, 20 years, a lot. The thing you have to worry about more than anything else is if they ever come up with an actual law on this, we're talking eugenics. I'm not joking. There'll be eugenics if there's ever a law on this, because they'll be like, let's just scan the brains. Oh, you're a sociopath. Off to the camp you go. Yeah. I don't think we want to do that, but anyway, that's an odd part. I know. Just we went a little off topic, but that's kind of what we do here. We kind of do go off topic. So yeah. Anyway, all right. Mastermind Hour. Thank you for being a member, my friend. When Trump buys Greenland, he can turn it into a penal colony. That's actually funny. I like that one, Mastermind Hour. Is that bad? Okay. We could just do that. And then Greenland will become, I guess, Australia. Isn't that what Australia was? Wasn't Australia one of those? So yeah, we'll turn Greenland into the next North Australia. We'll do that and we'll be fine. So there we go. Michael, again, thank you for being a member. Tish has also had a excitement for or against crypto. Yes. Look, the reality of it is people who like the system hate all forms of crypto. They do not care at all. So yes. So, all right. Christine says, my roommate is a sociopath, not dangerous, just a bing bong. Not sure what bing bong is, but yes, agreed. They're not all dangerous, right? Ryan, I think if a member says, I watched the episode of House called The Psychopath. The patient in the episode completely turned and revealed herself to a puppet master and getting people to bend to her will. Good episode. Yeah, what you'll often find also sociopaths, you could tell, sociopaths will start from a position of strength and threatening and power. And then once they find that they aren't in a position of authority or power, immediately go to pity. So they'll be like, Ryan, you'll do as I say because I'm tough guy, and do what I say, and you better, and I'm tough guy. And then once Ryan goes, Larry, I'm not scared of you, dude. Stop your stuff. In fact, I might take care of you instead. Oh, come on, Ryan. I'm just kidding. I immediately go to pity. Come on, don't be mad at me. It's because of my dad. That's the reason. Come on. I immediately go to pity. Most people who aren't sociopaths don't go right to pity. They go to negotiating. But a psychopath will very often go right from strength immediately to pity. And that's how you know. This, one of the reasons. So yeah, thank you for that, Ryan. I appreciate it. Yes. Chin says, do you believe we overrate politicians when we think about history and society? Would you say other occupations such as scientists are more impactful? Generally speaking, no, because politicians tend to set the agenda to where scientists and other occupations can actually get things done or not get things done. So the political leaders help to set the environment. So I do think they matter more than the scientists, because without the political leadership, there may not be scientists, or the opposite, there are scientists, right? There are other occupations or aren't other occupations without someone setting the societal agenda or the culture. So I do think that I don't know if they're politicians, but leadership, political leadership is what I'll say, whether you would call them, I mean, if you're like a king or a queen, are you really a politician? So political leadership is what I would say is most important, because that's what sets the agenda for everything else. So, yeah. Dave says, I thought Guantanamo Bay was going to be a penal colony and Gaza was going to be the place where they hold this. Look, Dave, I got to tell you, I say all the time, Trump changes his mind often. We could swap on this easy. Like next week, we could swap. It might be true. So, Minor Threat says, those scams will never be definitive, in my opinion. I think the opposite. I think they are insanely definitive. The problem isn't whether they're definitive. The problem, Minor Threat, is who decides. That's the problem. I think they can be very definitive. The question is, do I decide that? And the example I'll give you is, if you remember, it's a movie, but you'll get that movie. It's a series. I think it's Amazon Prime. It's The Man in the High Castle. And in this series, it's like an alternate universe. For those you don't know, it's an alternate universe where the Germans actually win World War II and they conquer half of America. And so America becomes part of the German Reich. And in it, they now, of course, have eugenics because eugenics were in Germany, now eugenics were in America. And one of the leaders, American leaders in the German military here in America, his son has a chronic disease, which eugenics, you got to be euthanized. So they find out he has it. What does he do? He kills the doctor because it was definitive, but he's a leader, so not his son. So while I think it would be very effective, my worry is who decides. Like in this case, he didn't. So yes. P says, really, you think he can't feel love? Ask him, he will tell you that. Peace. Yes. If you are a sociopath, you cannot feel love. That's the definition. The definition of psychopathy is zero empathy. Zero. Like there's Machiavellian, like the dark triad? Machiavellian. I forgot the other one, what it is. Narcissistic, right? Narcissistic, Machiavellian, and psychopathic. Psychopathic is the worst one. That's the one where there is zero empathy. Lack of empathy, not zero. Lack of empathy can make you either Machiavellian or it can make you a narcissistic, but you still have some empathy, right? When you move towards psychopathy, that's when there is zero empathy. If there is zero empathy, you cannot feel love. It is physically impossible. So yes, if he is a true sociopath, he cannot feel love. It's all just acting to do what is expected of him. It's his brain's survival mechanism is what it is. He cannot actually feel love. That's kind of how that works. So yes. Minor Threat says, agree. Yeah, that's my worry. My worry is who decides more than anything else, right? That is always going to be my concern, right? Because, oh, not my kid. Your kid? Yeah, your kid goes away. My kid? No, not my kid. Guys, I want to ask you one more time if I could. Please click the button known as Lima, India, Kilo, Echo. I know I go off on topics here or there, but I try to make sure that we get a lot of cool stuff talking about so that I hope this is a place for us to have a nice, good conversation. I appreciate that. Also, please share it if you have not. Share it or repost it, whichever is the right thing for you. Put it into a Facebook group or share it on X, whatever the case may be, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. If you have not followed me on Facebook, X, and Rumble, why do you hate the children? What did children do to you? Follow me on one of those three or all of them. If you have not subscribed on YouTube, please do so. And when you do, click the all notifications when you're subscribing so you get all of notifications. I do appreciate all super chats, or you can rant me on Rumble. Either I'm always great. And of course, membership, $29 per month. Click that join button. The more members, the better. I know I'm behind on responding. I know I have been. I'm sorry I've been late. I will get back to responding ASAP. I'll start again this week. I'll be back to responding. If you want to be a member on Rumble, $29 per month, click subscribe during the live. After that, I don't know why. That's how Rumble works. You can't do it. So only during the live. That would be amazing if you could. But no matter what, the button known, Lima, India, Kilo, Echo, is free. And it allows the man himself, Mr. Rhythm, first name Al, middle name Gore. That guy, he loves when you click the like button. He eats it up, loves it. And he shows this to other people because I guess people must like it because they're clicking the button. They must like it. So I'm going to show it to other people. So please do that. It does help. Absolutely does help. Please do that if you can. I appreciate it. All righty. I do want to grab a couple more of these comments. Some of these have popped up so much. I want to just, I zip past some of them. So I apologize for that, those that I missed, because they do go by so fast. So, all right. Matt says, isn't a life sentence like only 27 years or something? Yeah. In certain parts, I believe it is Norway where the max you can do is do 27 years. I think it's Norway. It's one of the Scandinavian countries. I'm pretty sure it's Norway. That's the maximum that you can do, which conceptually I get. Like, I do get that conceptually, right? Your goal is to try to encourage, people rehabilitating. I get it. I don't know how well it lasts or it works. It's relatively new, I think, the last couple decades. So I don't know if we know yet. I'm glad someone like Norway's doing it because we're going to find out, right? Is it actually working or not? I don't know if it will. I don't know if it has. I should look into that. I'm not sure if there's any data yet on whether it's actually working. I hope it is. I don't know if it is. I have no inside information if it's working at all, but I hope it is. I would love for someone to find an answer that would actually get people, to be able to go to prison when they go to prison, to come out and actually be successful when they're on the way out, and to have our recidivism rate down to 4 or 5%. That will be amazing. So I hope it works. Again, I have no inside information whether it works or not, but I really do hope that it does. So, Michael, thank you for being a member. Larry, the pragnarchist. Okay. Are you insulting me or describing me, or I'm not sure what you're doing. I'm going to take it as a compliment because it feels good. So I'm just going to do that. Yes. He says, during Trump's first term, he talked with some governors to release nonviolent criminals. I try to give Trump credit where credit is due, even in his first term. And without question, him and Kim Kardashian, I'm not joking, did more for criminal justice reform than the three presidents before them. I wish I was joking. I'm not. Kim Kardashian and Donald Trump together did more for criminal justice reform than the three presidents before him combined. So, yeah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's absolutely true. Yes, I do like that concept. So, yeah. In any case, hope that makes sense. So, I'm looking at Rumble. Alpha Dork says Steve Bannon is all in for criminal justice reform. I'm not sure. He talks a good game, but I'm not sure if he actually wants that or he's just angry because of what happened to him. I don't know yet. Alpha Dork, let's see if he's still talking that way in 2 years. If he is, I'd agree with you. But he may just be mad what happened to him. I'm not sure on him yet. I don't mean to be mean. I want to see him still be talking the same game a year or two from now. If he is, then I'm in. My BA lady says, I think it's a combo of pragmatist and anarchist. Oh, I'm going to take that as a compliment then. Okay, that's a compliment. There we go. Peace, Liza. Thank you for the $1 rant. I appreciate it. That's insane, Larry. Innocent people convicted. There has to be a path to help. We can't just eat breakfast and not care, which means you do. I think the answer is creating, without question, community rehabilitation units, crews. I called them that from 2018. That's the reason. That's the way we do it. We do that. You will find people begin to move out. We want people to get supported almost in like halfway houses. Here's the issue. How this system works, Peace, is you have to bring in two different types of people. One, volunteers from the community that these people are from, number one. Number two, corrections officers who've been through the system who know who to say yes to and who not to. The problem is what happens often is income consultants. Consultants come in. If consultants come in and say, well, let's pick these people, they pick people for the absolute wrong reasons, not for right reasons. And they pick people that they're fooled by because they don't know that these guys are full of crap, because many of them are sociopaths who are very good at lying. They don't know that. So they screwed it up completely. Now, the COs are better. They're not perfect either. COs aren't perfect, but they're better than the consultants. So the CO should be picking the people. Hey, we want this guy, that guy, that guy. That guy, no, he's full of crap. No, pull these guys in. They come in. And the people from the community come in. And together, it's almost like a halfway house. That's how it actually works, Peace. And over time, people come out, come back in. They get jobs, they get hired. And you watch as that happens, the recidivism rate is about 4%. It's less than 5%. Huge difference. It worked in Massachusetts. And that's where I got it from. So that's what we do. I've been talking about this again for 7 years. They're called CRUs, CRUs, Community Rehabilitation Units. 7 years been talking about it. And whatevs. Yeah. Anyway, I'm getting triggered again. I'm not getting triggered, Mike. See, I'm being good. I'm not getting triggered. I'm going to move on. Roy says Norway's max sentence is 21 years. Oh, okay. I thought it was 27. Thank you for that. I thought it was 27. 21 years. Extendable if deemed a threat. Don't know how they determine that. Yeah, look, do you happen to know, Roy, if it's working or not? I hope it is. Like, I really want us to have a better answer. Right now, we don't have a good answer. I hope this works. So, yeah. Minor threat says that they need job training and long-term drug treatment while there. I use this all the time, and I want to keep going here. I want to say it again and again and again. This part we know. Data is in, minor threat. Data is in. If you're able to get a person out of prison and have them work for 5 years, I don't know why, but that's the number. If they work for 5 years, once they've had 5 years of work, the odds of them committing a crime are less than the average American. They are literally safer than before they went in. They are safer than someone who's never been convicted. 5 years, magic number. If we can get people to actually work for 5 years, they don't go back to jail. Statistically, some will obviously, right? But statistically, they won't. They have a less chance of going to jail than someone who's never been convicted of anything. That's the number. Get them working. They work. Now we're not paying for them. They're paying taxes. Hopefully they're starting families. Hopefully they're teaching their kids don't go to jail. I hope. But yes, that's the number, minor threat. 5 years. That you're totally correct. 5 years is the number. We do that. Things change. Yes, yes, and yes. Straight N goes over and says, yes, and everyone gains pride in the community. Yes. Also true. 100%. Roy goes on to say, from the 90s to now, recidivism is down 70 to 20%. Wow. A big part of small community-based prisons focused on rehab and reintegration to society. Yes, community, which is what I just said, right? Rehabilitation units. Yes, Norway's doing it right. That piece is critical. Yes. We do. I mean, imagine if America had a 20% recidivism rate. It'd be amazing. A lot of money getting lost though, but that'd be amazing. I love that idea. I wish we do that. We are not doing a good job of that. So, any case, guys, I will not be on tomorrow, but I will be on the day after. I won't be on Wednesday, but I will be on Thursday. I'll be at an event tomorrow, so I won't be able to be on. So I will start posting some stuff tomorrow, and also I will be responding to your comments. So I will be doing that also if I can. So remember, after this live is over, please post a comment underneath. Please post how long should the maximum sentence be? Is 21 the right answer? Is 27 the right answer? Is it life? Is the idea of a max sentence a bad idea? Is a mandatory maximum a bad idea? I will see you all very soon.